Recorded live from Orlando, Florida and Nashville, Tennessee, you're listening to The Dapper Danielle Show, starring Ian Wilson, Clarence Kelly. And now, here's your host, the one and only, The Dapper Danielle.
And welcome to another episode of the Dapper Danielle Show. I'm the Dapper Danielle, and I'm joined by Ian Wilson and Clarence Kelly, who are hanging out over in Nashville, Tennessee, where I just was. If you watched last week's episode, we did a episode in person all together, and we covered some interesting topics about river country, which has gotten some pretty good reviews and responses.
I really love how this episode you made the point to not say holding down the fort.
Thank you. I was trying so hard.
I just want to commend you. I noticed.
What, do you see the struggle in my face as I was like,
Amanda caught that too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The fort is still being held. It is still being held down here.
It is still being held down. It truly, truly is. If you haven't watched
it's good that the River Country episode is doing well, because there's going to be a whole book about similar topics coming out in just a few weeks, actually, which is kind of crazy. It's really sneaking up. I feel like September has felt like just so long away when we first started talking about it, and now it's like, wow, you're going to blink and it's going to be, we're doing all the ribbon cutting and everything already. It's like crazy. So
yeah, Jay, it's only weeks away. We also have our Patreon family from the premium tier and the refresher tier are currently in our live studio audience as we're recording, and they're adding commentary and all these other things. So yes, Jay, they wrote, wait, weeks? Yes, weeks. Like, the book technically releases on September 8th, and I got a phone call randomly the other day that we might be able to actually get the books earlier for a special event here in Orlando.
Ooh.
So we're still confirming that portion, but we can announce that Ian and I are going to be ribbon cutters for a brand new Barnes & Noble. Could you imagine? Like,
I've been doing a lot of research actually on what type of shears or scissors are best for ribbon cutting, because you can't just cut the ribbon with basic, Fishker scissors that you bought from Joann's. I feel like you need something very ceremonial.
Like the giant, I don't know if we're going to get giant scissors or not. So y'all, the Barnes & Noble
swords, I heard.
It's a good option.
I don't think the Barnes & Noble team is going to trust me with a samurai sword. So I think they'll probably safety kid scissors is probably what they'll do. But it is,
if you get the samurai sword first, they will have no choice but to trust you with the samurai sword. Once you hold the handle, you're really in control of the situation.
But that sounds very threatening, though.
It's not a threat.
Like, you hold the handle. Are we holding it at them?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Only if they're going to say, I can't cut the ribbon with a samurai sword. Then there might be some pointing of the sword.
Just have
gesturing.
A claymore as a backup.
Yes. Hold on. I'm trying to find
a scimitar as a backup.
Nice. That's a good. Yeah. I prefer the C4 and
the claymore is a medieval sword.
Focus. Stop talking about the swords. I'm trying to tell people which Barnes & Noble it is that's going to be opening.
Okay. It's the Barnes & Noble. It's in Vineland, right?
Vineland Point. So this is the one that's going to be right, if you're Orlando local, it's the one right there behind the Orlando Premium Outlets, kind of near where the Cheesecake Factory is over there. And so if you look it up on Instagram and you want to see the information, you want to follow along with the store, it's BN Vineland PT for Barnes & Noble Vineland Point. And it has the address in there. And the ribbon cutting ceremony is going to be in the morning on August 26th. So it is on a Wednesday in the middle of the day. So the hope is, and what the conversation that's currently happening between our publisher and Barnes & Noble is, hey, so the history book literally releases in less than a week after this. Can we just open up, can we just be the first location to have the book and sell the book? Ian and Danielle sign the books right
sense.
there. It makes sense. It totally makes sense. So yes, very, very exciting. Yes, it will be by the Disney outlet store. Very, very convenient. And I know there's a lot of people over there near the SeaWorld side of town and Universal side of town that this will become their regular Barnes & Noble location. So I'm excited.
So basically, come see us cut a ribbon. That's the minimum you will be signing up for, is getting to see us cut a ribbon. We will have some of our other books there. I Love Epcot, I Love Magic Kingdom is there. Going to be there as well for sure. And then we will hopefully have the first hard physical copies of The Lost History of Walt Disney World there for signatures. So that's the hope. That's the goal. Very exciting.
Ah, so good. So good. Well, actually, so in the tie-in, so I mentioned how well the Riverside episode is doing. River Country. That's what
Riverside is what we're recording this on.
That's what we're recording it on. It was also the Riverside Resort was where I worked at, and I was just talking about with somebody else earlier too. But there's a comment on YouTube from a cast member that, because in that episode we talked a little bit about how the president's daughter was there for the ribbon cutting for River Country. And on the comments on YouTube, Kay Pyler wrote, it would be a short president story about Disney World, but when I was a cast member in 2012, Obama came to Disney for something, and I guess it wasn't something planned far enough in advance because the Secret Service closed all the roads into and out of Disney for an hour or so. And so cast members working the morning shift couldn't leave, and cast members working the evening shift, like myself, couldn't get in. So we were all going to be late. And so the big joke was that we could all say with 100% accuracy, I was late for work today. Thanks, Obama.
That's pretty good.
Normally, if roads would be closed for hours, it would be told ahead of time so we could plan accordingly, but not that day. I vaguely remember this because I was working for the company at this time, and it would tie in a little bit with what we're talking about because earlier in the week, with all the craziness, we got back from San Diego Comic-Con. Ian and I were running around California like chickens. Clarence was actually stuck up in Canada.
In Toronto. Well,
yes.
Clarence was a political prisoner for
but
a week.
No, he was not. He was, like originally, Clarence was going to come with us to San Diego Comic-Con, and we forgot that this wedding was happening. Clarence's girlfriend was a part of it, and she was a member of the bridal party, so he was going up there to schmooze and be social because we want her to join the family eventually. So we're trying to sweeten the deal and make him go to all these other things, and and basically, we'll get into a little bit more of that later. But Clarence was stuck up there as we're trying to get home.
The Canadians poured maple syrup around their hotel. Clarence and Shelby come out of the hotel, find out they can't leave. The Canadians politely are threatening to keep them there forever. I guess you could say it was a sticky situation.
Thank you for joining the podcast, everybody. Good night.
That's it. Episode's done. We're done. It will never get better than that.
I don't know. They were very amused by the Thanks Obama joke too that was told over on YouTube also. So
that was the Thanks Obama one was a really good punchline to a.
It's very that's shockingly accurate, Ian.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't there, but I heard from a inside source.
Hello, friends. This is Clarence from the editing booth. I took a longer time telling this story than I expected when we recorded it. It's almost 30 minutes long. So if you would like to hear the full story of me being trapped in Canada and Air Canada holding us against our will in Toronto for 3 days, you can go to patreon.com/thedapper or you can scroll down, go into the description of this video or this podcast and click the link to Danielle's Patreon, where that whole section is going to be available as a bonus episode. For those of you who don't go see it and hear the whole story, which I highly recommend you do because it's very funny to me now, the TLDR is Air Canada kept canceling our flights to the point that we were trapped there for 3 days. We almost didn't make it home even on the third day. And now I have beef with Air Canada and Canada in general. So, thanks.
I'm heated. You can tell I still have a lot of feelings about this.
Still a lot of feelings. So we will not be letting you start in Canada next time you're down here. We will be starting by Mexico.
I'm not going to Canada and Epcot. Screw it. It doesn't exist for me anymore. I'm never going to Canada and Epcot. Martin Short, bye. Bye.
He's not even there anymore. It doesn't matter.
Good riddance. Good riddance. I'm over it.
That's funny.
The Dapper Danielle Show will be right back after these messages.
Well, I mentioned in the very beginning of this episode, which thank you again, Clarence, for sharing your story. And we're so sorry for your loss of time, your loss of PTO. And hopefully you and Shelby can recover. And maybe you can find peace in your heart to maybe one day forgive the Canadians.
It's going to be a long time until that happens.
I know.
But maybe one day.
We'll have to talk to your therapist. We'll make it work. And but in that little note that we read, that comment that I read from YouTube, it was that President Obama,
a decade ago.
right? President Obama caused a delay at Walt Disney World. Well, here this past Monday, we had a live streamer cause a problem and a delay of everything in Magic Kingdom, which I don't know. Ian, you heard nothing about this at all. Clarence, you know who the streamer is, though, correct?
I'm aware of him. I've never watched a stream.
Okay. Well, for those that are not aware, there is a very, very big streamer on Twitch, I believe, and his name is Kai.
Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat. And, I mean, it is a very, very big streamer, like millions of followers, all this other stuff. And last time some really big streamers went into, and they weren't even really that big. They had a bigger following. But there were some streamers recently that went into Disneyland and they were removed from property because people were calling in and like were making fake calls to the police saying that they were threatening and basically, what is that called? Raiding? Or not raiding? Swatting. They were calling and swatting them while they were in Disneyland. So then these calls from the Anaheim Police Department are going to Disneyland security, and they're like, okay, we're getting reports of a threat inside the park. Can you lay eyes on this person? And so Disneyland security gets involved. They get kicked out, yada, yada, yada. So this person is small.
Basically, the goal with the swatting, too, is you see a live streamer, and the goal is to get the police to show up on the live stream and have the live streamer have to like talk through it or whatever.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's
swatting?
No, swatting is when you have somebody go in, they call the police, say they're threatening, false information, like they're going to cause immediate danger or like a really bad scenario. And so the SWAT team actually shows up to a pinpointed location based off of a website IP, based off of if somebody has an address, if they've been doxxed or anything, and that like all this address, and they will literally bust down their door, and they will get arrested and interrogated on live time with all this happening.
That's what I was saying. Is like that's the goal. Is like you SWAT someone who is live streaming so that you can see it unfold, or just so everyone is they're embarrassed or whatever. So it's all fake. I mean, it's not a real threat or anything. It's just hyping something up to try to make something happen online.
It's creating panic and putting funding and dollars towards things that should not be happening. And so I think it's interesting that that creator that in Disneyland, he was banned, I think, from property. And even though he wasn't really doing anything wrong, but then Disney World hosts Kai, who is big potatoes and much, much bigger following. And I'm like, didn't you just learn what happened with this smaller streamer? Are you not worried what's going to be happening with this bigger one? Or if all these calls are going to be coming in, are you just ignoring all warning calls because you think somebody's just trying to swat this streamer? So he's streaming in the hotel. He's streaming backstage. Even when Disney upper management and security are telling him, hey, okay, we're going backstage. You need to put the cameras down. Some of the video clips, it makes it look like he was just there by himself. He wasn't. He was escorted by security. He had his own private security, and he had at least 3 plaids with him, if not more. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I was telling this to Aunt Shatana, Uncle James, Mom and Dad when they were in town, and I was just like, could you imagine if a president showed up nowadays, just like how President Obama showed up suddenly back in 2012, but in now modern days and in modern technology, this happening with a president or any type of really big political figure that needed even more security and not just a streamer.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, and Aunt Chan was like, you know what? Speaking of which, let's go into the Hall of Presidents. So we walked into the Hall of Presidents. And while we're in the Hall of Presidents, they're looking around and they're looking at stuff. And Mom points out, oh, hey, they have the key to Disneyland here. And without even having to read the cue card, I tell Mom the history of the key to Disneyland and how it was given to Nixon. And she's like, why haven't you talked about this? So that's kind of what led into this conversation of, we have a couple of moments where different presidents have visited different parks, Disneyland and Disney World. And I want y'all's opinion on whether or not some of these instances, if it happened in modern day, would it have caused as much craziness as what we experienced here this past Monday with Kai the streamer. Over in Disneyland, presidents have been visiting Disneyland for years, especially dignitaries. I mentioned it actually in the video that we did, or actually in our panel that we did for MegaCon, that we had princesses, we had the King Hassan, King Hassan II's father. So King Hassan sponsored the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot. His father met and had a private tour around Disneyland, and that's why he became a Disney kid, was because of his father's connection back in the day. So we've had kings from Morocco over in Disneyland, and then we've had also presidents as well. One of the most popular presidents, well, popular in the sense that he went to Disneyland the most, and he has many, many letters in his library, because you know all the presidents have their own libraries, right? Or archives or catalogs. He has the most letters that are signed by Walt Disney, that are from Walt Disney. And it's Richard Nixon.
I also have my own library as well too. I go to the Franklin Library. Yeah, that's my library. You know, I kind of refer to it as that. So just like the presidents, I have my own library.
Yes, but this is more of a collection of their things that is then put on display for the public, or can be sent out to different museums or displays around the country. So Richard Nixon was one of the top ones. He has visited Disneyland and Disney World the most, I believe, out of any president. And in most
really
recent,
funny to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm surprised by that.
No, he's been visiting since he was vice president also. So
this is actually fascinating. I'm just gonna I don't. This is like so niche. This is like coming from the Kelly family cloud, and this is the
are you doing a dad moment where you're just pulling it out of the air?
Random American fact that you probably don't care about, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. Richard Nixon was big time in with like Billy Graham and had a huge, I guess, emphasis on kind of the evangelical Christian, but also kind of like American nationalist movement that kind of started popping up right before his presidency. So he, even as he was kind of ascending as a popular political character, was shaking hands and making big deals with all these big time evangelical people, and worked extremely hard to maintain those relationships and kind of court their vote, and even had, Billy Graham come to his defense several times in his presidency. So to me, makes a lot of sense that he would visit Disneyland and Disney World the most, because it's like the conservative American thing to do. He's like showing very much that he's like hamming up that side of his like audience. So anyways, that's just my random Disney thing. It's like, I just connect that of like conservatism, I feel like, and Disney land, especially like, you know, when it's like kicking off, seemed to me like those would have kind of gone hand in hand. So it makes a lot of sense that Nixon would be there showing he's an American family man just going to Disney like the rest of you, kind of, because that's like the base he was hardcore trying to win and maintain, kind of, because it was the silent majority right during his presidency. So
true.
Like
Disney World's the best.
random little like aside where I'm like, yeah, it totally makes sense why he of all presidents would have visited Disney the most, because it probably mattered the most to his political base that he was trying to win the vote to.
Very interesting.
And
I learned that in a book called Jesus and John Wayne. It's a good read. Very controversial, but I mean, not that the content is not really controversial. It's not really making a controversial argument.
John Wayne
it's
alone
just
is very
unpacking
controversial.
some facts about American history that are kind of like,
interesting.
know that.
I've been reading
concerning.
another random thing, just because we're talking about Billy Graham. I started reading this book called Korean Messiah, and it's about Kim Il-sung and his rise to power. Billy Graham visited and preached in North Korea in the 70s.
Wow.
And the book starts with this visit. It's fascinating. It is a fascinating book. I'm so intrigued by it. But essentially, the whole premise of the book is talking about Kim Il-sung's upbringing in a Christian household and how he used that upbringing to ultimately shape the religion that formed around his leadership in North Korea.
That's interesting.
It's
And
fascinating.
Leanne just commented,
interesting.
this episode has already been such a wild ride. I had none of this on my bingo card. Amen to that, Leanne. And I didn't even expect this myself either.
Anyway, so
This
back
is
to
like the season finale is like, you know, you open up your refrigerator after a couple of weeks and you just kind of have all these things together.
Well,
and it's like an episode of Chopped. You just kind of, it's like mint leaves, Greek yogurt, jelly beans, make dinner, and you're like, all right, I'm getting to work, and I'm going to be doing a pork chop glaze with a reduced jelly bean sauce on top of it, and then I'm going to make a Greek dill yogurt with, lemon juice. I don't know, whatever. You know, it's like that's what this episode kind of feels like. It's just like the grand finale, but we're like, these are some ideas maybe we've been marinating on a while. I don't know. I just don't know why these things are all coming up, but it has been...
I think it's because
it's the grand finale.
Right. It is a grand finale, but it's also, we've had a very weird week also, all three of us, and the rest of the family has also. So I do think, as Melinda just now said, this is a therapy session episode. So thank you all for listening this far into the episode. But let me refocus again, because back to one of your original things that you just said, Ian. So it is definitely a political play of why Nixon is so involved. And I think why Disney was like, hey, I already have these grand plans for Epcot. And again, it's not a park. It is an experimental prototype community of tomorrow and a city of the future. I'm getting ready to expand upon this. I'm about to start setting things in motion. And this is happening right in 1960. So he's already lining up his people. He's getting this around and ready back in 1955. Because right after Disneyland opened in October of 1955, he invites Vice President Nixon to Disneyland with his family to receive the key to Disneyland. So it's an actual key in a little box, and it says engraved in it Disneyland. And what's funny is that it's not like a gold elaborate key. It looks like a regular like car door key kind of thing. Like it's silver, has just the rounded edge, and then the normal key spokes. Very funny. And
Why didn't he invite the president? Just out of curiosity,
because Vice President Nixon was easier to get a hold of, or he kind of saw the writing on the wall of, oh, maybe this guy's going to run for president next. I should really be hamming him up.
In 55, was that wasn't Ike?
I just googled it. It looks like it was Eisenhower. So I guess you could say that Walt did not like Ike.
Well, no, did Eisenhower? No, I don't believe he actually made it to Disneyland, at least during his presidency. He might have made it afterwards, but
he probably read some Donald Duck comics while he was out
Probably.
doing the war.
Probably. But Nixon received the key to the city, and why I love this fact so much is because actually Walt Disney was not there Instead, it was the who was this again? It was the president of Disney, like, oh my goodness, what is his name? I'm blanking on his name, but forget him. A Disney representative that was not Walt Disney, but Fess Parker was the one there shaking his hand and giving the key himself. So, yay, Fess Parker.
Wow, the Crockett craze.
Crockett craze, and of course I'm going to mention
Dick.
him in there somewhere. So this key went to the Richard Nixon Presidential Library Museum, and now it currently lives in Walt Disney World as of right now. It is on display inside of the Hall of Presidents. When you go into the main rotunda area right before in the pre-show, there is a cabinet kind of right there in between. There's like 3 cabinets on the wall on the right, and it's right there in the very center, and you can see this key, and there's a picture of Fess Parker and President Nixon's family receiving the key to Disneyland. Well, not immediately afterwards, there is quite a few correspondence letters going back and forth between Nixon, the Mouseketeers. He was invited to be on the Mickey Mouse Club television show as vice president in 1956. Also in 1959, let's see, let me make sure I say this right. Since Disneyland was already open, over 2,000 members of the press, celebrities, and dignitaries attended, including Vice President Nixon, his wife, and his daughters, for a special ceremony for the ushering of Tomorrowland. Oh. So it was the update. It was like the first major update to Tomorrowland and the first major attractions being added to that section of the park. And there are notes, private notes that are signed by Walt Disney, and it has his actual signature on these as well. Then, while still in, like, this is right at the same time, in 1959, Disney's like, hey, you know what? Along with Tomorrowland and all these updates happening in, let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June? Is this June? June 14th of 1959. Mm-hmm. He is brought in to cut the ceremonial ribbon, just like how me and Ian are going to be cutting the ceremonial ribbon for the monorail. So he was there at the very beginning with the monorail, also in Disneyland. And there's some very cute photos of Nixon and his family, Walt right there. Walt is so funny in these photos and these videos because he's like, he's standing next to the monorail and he's like, it's his proud son. Or like, you know how like certain men take pictures with fish on the dating websites? Mm-hmm. That's Walt with the monorail in some of these photos. I don't know how to explain it anymore, like any other way, but that's what it kind of looks like, where Walt's like, yeah, look at this thing. I built a monorail. And what's kind of cute is that in the ceremonial, like in the ribbon cutting ceremony, this is what I worry about, Ian, with our ribbon cutting ceremony, is that the girls, his 2 daughters, were the ones that were cutting the ribbon. The scissors don't work because they're not real scissors, or they're not sharp enough to actually cut through the ribbon. So Walt Disney kind of just gingerly kind of goes over and kind of rips it himself. And then he's like, okay, we did the thing. Let's pose for the picture again.
See, I'm telling you, you got to research this. If they had a samurai sword, this honestly wouldn't have even been an issue.
It wouldn't have been an issue. I don't know how that would have looked on the monorail platform deck, though, you know?
It would have been fire.
It would have been fire. But my question to you guys is that out of all these instances, which one would have been the one to go viral? If any of these things happened, so whether it be the key to Disneyland, the monorail happening, him showing up to the opening ceremony of Tomorrowland, so like think of it like a new attraction opening or a land opening in the park. If that was to happen nowadays and a vice president or someone really high up as a dignitary showed up, would that break the internet on anything?
In the modern age or in the current time? Like in the time that happened in?
In the time
it
that
didn't,
it
obviously
happened
in the time that it happened. It obviously didn't.
No, it did. This did make very many a newspaper, and this was like a big thing in the news anyway.
So like if the internet existed at that time, would people be going crazy about it online?
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
Maybe. Which one would have been the viral moment that would have If TikTok happened in 1965,
I mean, a failed ribbon cutting would have circulated on any type of social media network.
Someone would have had
for sure
an iPhone video of Walt having to go over and rip it, and that would have circulated.
That's true.
I don't know. I think it's hard because it's like back then, you just didn't have, like, even the live streamer. It's like people know with probably only a 30-second delay max exactly where that guy's at. You know what I mean? Whereas back then, it's like if you don't have that instantaneous connection, it's just who can see the person. So it's much easier to use backstage areas to kind of whisk people around, and you just maybe people appear in certain places and then disappear, and it doesn't really have, I don't know. I just feel like you have a little bit more like flex there kind of, but I feel like now with more of the tracking, it's a lot harder with some of the more instantaneous uploads people can really quickly circulate where someone's at. I mean, I feel like even you, Danielle, in the park, you can post one Instagram story and people will start finding you at a higher rate than if you don't post anything. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know. So I think it's hard without like modern technology to imagine any of these being the same as like the live stream or the swatting or anything like that. But I don't know. I do think the failed ribbon cutting would be kind of a oof moment, in the modern age where everyone's recording like every moment of something. So that would probably get circulated a lot, but I don't know. Also, I mean, in our day and age, it would probably be like they would go to Disney World. 50% of the United States would be like, this is awful that they went to this corporate fun time. They don't pay their employees everything. People with tattoos sometimes have to wear long sleeve shirts. And it's like, this is just, Disney's the worst of America. How could they go there? Let's crucify the president. And then other times, the other half of America would be like, see, this demonstrates that we're on the path to recovery as America. You know what I mean? So I feel like it would become just this like, okay, it's just a president going to Disney World. Like it's not, it doesn't have to be like one or the other, like life or death type thing. So, but I feel like it definitely would become that, I mean, it'd be a highly political move to do anything with a corporation nowadays.
For sure. And then I think it's funny that after these events happened in Disneyland, he ended up coming to Disney World. That's where the I am not a crook speech was given in, 1973? During a convention that was being held in the public, like it was a whole thing. This is actually makes reference into the Lost History book of Walt Disney World also, with more details and dates and the reasoning why he was there. We put that into the new book, and it was given in the ballroom of the Americas in the Contemporary Resort.
You can still go see it. There's people, we like sit there occasionally when we're waiting for check-in or something like that in the little lounge area on the second floor there. And there's people going in all the time and you can hear them talking like, this is it. This is the ballroom. They like peek their head in.
You can tell who the history nerds are, and they come through every once in a while. So it might be like every couple hours. Like you have to be sitting there for a while. And I think last time we were there for quite some time. And I love watching that. It's that one dad in the group usually. That's just like, so this is where the speech was given. This one right here.
I go in and I mean, every time we're at the Contemporary, I take at least 15 minutes to practice my Richard Nixon impression at the podium. And I'm just like, I am not a crook. And just do all of the Richard Nixon things and, go through it,
I honestly, I do think though, I do think Richard Nixon would probably really like going to Disney nowadays because...
What do you think you're thinking? You think you're so funny and you haven't even said it yet.
Because they have all the new, the little Mickey Mouse ear TV things in the room, the little nightstands that listen to you. So Nixon would love the listening devices in each room of the hotel.
It's so true. He would.
He would love it. He would be like, this is awesome. I don't even have to pay for it. I love it.
That's some deep Nixon lore that I don't know most people will know.
Y'all, if you were...
I couldn't even keep it together. I was trying really hard, and I was like, this is just too...
No, that was really good. That was really good. Okay, if you do not know your American history, because we know we have some other followers from around the world, Richard Nixon... somebody else explain it real quick, because that is so
Nixon
funny.
would keep a tape recorder in the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, and he would record every meeting. He would just have secret recordings of everything going on.
But didn't he also hired some people to listen into how basically elections were going too?
Yes, that was part of the Watergate scandal.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
in the Disney connection to it, there are these Alexa type machines that sit inside. I'm
So
sorry if I just turn on everybody's Alexa if you're listening to this out loud. Alexa, play the Dapper Danielle show. Anyway, there are these like little machines there. They have little Mickey Mouse ears, and that's how you can like talk to it, and you can order rooms or not rooms. You can order towels back to your hotel room. You can ask for what time are the pool hours for the hotel, things like that. And that's what it's supposed to be used for. And it's true. Like when we go into hotel rooms, we go in and unplug this thing because
It's kind of weird.
it is kind of weird. And the way to turn it on is you say, "Hey Disney," and you ask it the question. So yeah, crazy.
The robots are
That was a good
listening.
joke though. That was really, really good.
Sorry. Yeah. Big derail, but
No, that was great. That was so good. A couple other presidents have visited since that time. We had Jimmy Carter. He went to Magic Kingdom, but this was after his presidency in 1978. Ronald Reagan went twice to Epcot, both in 1983 and in 1985. And his visit in 1983 is when he spoke to a ton of students. They're in the American Adventure Pavilion at the theater. And
That's
that's the
also
only
the
reason why we
visit-
have the Voices of Liberty.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the visit that solidified the Voices of Liberty's contract.
That's right. If you do not know that story, you need to go. If you're currently watching on YouTube after this episode, go back and watch the panel that we talked about Epcot and our tour around Epcot from MegaCon Orlando. And Ian dives into that history and tells the story. And it actually comes straight from the book. I love Epcot, which is really, really great. George W. Bush went to Disney's Grand Floridian in
George
2003 and also the Contemporary Resort also for different conference things, which was very interesting. So 2003, 2006 for those. And then
He also recently had his paintings on display in the American Adventure.
yes, he did.
that was really
Yes.
cool to see. Actually, I was
That was
kind of
very
like,
cool.
I've seen him like paint those, online and stuff like that, and then to see him like. Just to see him there and be like, wow, I can actually see these. I don't
Right.
have to go to his presidential library or whatever to see him. This is great.
I think it's very interesting that in the Hall of Presidents, they even say it's the presidency is labeled as a glorious burden. And it's so funny to look back at the history of these presidents and what they do after their time. And a lot of them get into painting as a stress relief.
Well, I think George Bush specifically, like
Art history
know,
person.
I love George Bush.
What?
I have a soft spot in my heart for George W. I just genuinely I like listening to him. I think
Do you like
partly
the accent?
I do love his accent, but I also think that he was a very unique president. He ran on education and then became a wartime president, which was definitely not what he ran on. So just from that perspective, I find his presidency very fascinating. And then what he did after, like,
I like his
becoming
friendship with the Obamas and Michelle. I like those videos. Those are my favorite.
becoming a painter and dedicating his painting time to painting portraits of people, of soldiers that were in the war in Afghanistan, which is the war that he essentially caused. And like trying to, I don't know if like make amends is the word, but essentially using the rest of his time to try to bring comfort to some people. I think that really speaks a lot to him as a person, and what he's choosing to do with his time post-presidency, and how he's essentially dedicating it to make art for other people.
Interesting. Okay.
So I like George Bush. I like him. I want to have a beer with him.
We'll reach out to his press people and see if we can get that hooked up, Clarence.
That'd be great. I would be delighted.
The Dapper Danielle Show will be right back after these messages.
Anyway, who else was here? Of course, Ronald Reagan. Did I already say him? I already said him. Jimmy Carter, I already said. And then President Obama, he ended up coming to Disneyland as a child, and then he was there in Disney World in 2012. And then before that, he also was at a conference in 2007, also at the Contemporary Resort.
Oh.
Which I think is so interesting that at the time, why were we going to those locations as a convention resort where there's so many other locations now that have some very nice convention locations, like Yacht and Beach Club? I love the Yacht Club location. I think Boardwalk would have been a great option. We now have Coronado Springs. That's a huge convention space. Why do we keep using Contemporaries? That's my question.
It's iconic.
I mean, it's iconic, but out of
It's
all the
where
places,
the "I was not a crook" speech took place.
yeah, I would
It has
probably try to
history.
separate myself from that a little bit. That's what I'm more concerned about.
I don't know. I do think that didn't the I'm not a crook speech happen at the wasn't it like something with the Republican Party? It was like it was kind of this like it was
another press event, and then it turned into that speech because of what he was being asked by the press.
So I do think that when I remember reading about that speech happened, there is like some event, like it's I don't know if it's like, but that event is historically held and has been at that ballroom for a long time. It's not one that moves. So it could just be that's the one everybody goes to, or everyone's been familiar with for the longest time, so they keep having that event there. It also could be capacity, and it also could be ease of security. I mean, you just if you have one that you can lock down really easily, have people get in and out, kind of. In a, like VIPs can leave by a separate secured entrance or have something. I mean, I feel like when I think about just like on the map, like a place like Yacht and Beach Club versus a place like
I guess there is a place for a helicopter to be able to land near Contemporary Resort if they had to usher him out via like a parking lot or something.
Contemporary is very easy to lock down. You can put a perimeter around it. You can really easily control the traffic into it.
It is technically almost on a peninsula because the half of it's bordered by water, and then you have the water bridge right there. You can easily close that down. You have the water on the other side.
Eastern Airlines runway nearby?
There is, but nothing can land on that right now because I know how many semi-trucks and tractor trailers are currently parked on that thing.
Yeah, but how do we know that they didn't like move that stuff out of the way to make it easier for the presidents to come in and out?
That's true.
It's possible. Definitely possible.
And that would explain why it hasn't been since like 2012 that we've had a active president anywhere on property, because that was last... Actually, you're right, because that would have been after the major new Fantasyland build, and after that happened is when all the construction stuff got moved over there.
Maybe I'm onto something. Theory. I'm pulling the theories out. Go back and listen to our Eastern Airlines episode where we talk about that runway.
That's true. That's true. Crazy.
And how it's musical.
Could you imagine? Mr. President, we're about to be landing soon. Okay, thank you so much. When you wish on a heart. Or Mr. President, there's an emergency. You have to leave. When you take off. That'd been great. Legendary. Anyway, okay. I think we have rambled probably quite enough in this episode. We kind of went all over the place a little bit, talking about Clarence's adventures and random live streamers in Magic Kingdom. And I do want to put one more thought onto that real quick. Is if you want to see kind of more commentary, go watch Dapper Manatee's video that he did about all of this. I know some of you have already watched it too. He kind of dives into more information, and I believe his sources, he did one video and then he updated the video. And it's because friends from guest relations reached out to him and gave him some more information. He didn't confirm exactly who the connections were, but I have a feeling that's who it was.
Michael Eisner.
Probably Michael Eisner himself.
Yeah.
And
there he is.
Kind of went into a little more detail about what was happening, because that's been a big mixed thing of Disney World, or especially in the Disney cast world, versus the people that like him as a streamer. There are some things that should not have happened during that stream, and as somebody that used to be a cast member, it is appalling. of what happened. So that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, go watch his video. It's pretty great. Go tell him I said hi in the comments and that I sent him over from the podcast episode. All right. Well, with all that, anything else to add, Ian or Clarence?
I just want to add I will be making a trip to Walt Disney World very soon. Very soon. It'll be okay. We'll be having a great meeting at the American Ballroom in Contemporary Resort. It's okay.
It's gonna be a
No,
fifth
it's the
park.
Ballroom
gonna
of
be
the
Shrimp
Americas
World.
because Contemporary Resort is
American
themed around
Ballroom,
South
Ballroom
America.
of Americas. At least it's not a Canadian ballroom, not a Mexican ballroom. It's American.
I'm building a ballroom myself.
My ballroom's not built yet, so I have to go to the one at the Contemporary.
All right.
I do feel like that. I like the idea of the American presidents visiting Walt Disney World. I do think it's a very cool tradition. I think Walt loved the idea of the American presidency, obviously with Abraham Lincoln being his favorite president. But I think if you go to the American Adventure in Epcot, if you do the Hall of Presidents, if you see whatever moments with Mr. Lincoln, still if that's still floating around.
Whatever
it still is. Great moments.
There's another word for it. Great moments. That's
Great
I
moments
was
with
gonna say
Mr.
magical
Lincoln.
moments. I was like, it's not magical moments. So I was like, it's some other word. Anyways.
No, it's you
it's
all
a
need to go see
Disneyland
Great Moments with
fact.
Mr. Lincoln. It is a mixture of our Hall of Presidents and also portions of the American Adventure in Epcot. It is a hodgepodge of the two. So
Next time I go to Epcot, I'm only doing the American Pavilion. That's all I want to do.
hanging out, watching
wanna
all the
be
shows
there.
of Voice of the Liberty.
I just want to be in the most American part of Disney World.
Hey, Steph just said Savannah Bananas will be there, so that'll be fun. That would be something.
Wait, no,
to
she
see.
said Savannah Bananas were so fun there.
Oh, we're so fun there. That's right. They already left. They already did their thing. Dang it.
So, anyways, basically, I think it's cool. I think American presidents are cool, and they should.
The history
do
is
that.
cool.
I think it's what you do as America. Disney is an American institution. People should visit. So I think it's cool.
I was
Joe
telling
Biden
Mom and
needs to go
Dad-
get ice cream at the Main Street place, ice cream parlor.
What?
Great.
Is Joe Biden and his ice cream?
Oh,
How he loves his ice cream?
yeah.
He
You
needs
think
to go to
would-
Main Street
He
and
needs to
have
go to Main Street and just go get some from
get some ice cream on Main
from the
Street.
Gibson Girl ice cream parlor.
And then Trump can just build a wall around the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot, and
Anyway,
just thinking of what the presidents would like to do when they visit.
yeah. If you're listening to this right now, you are not seeing my eyes roll every single time Clarence says something like that. And you made me lose my train of thought. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. I was going to explain. So we keep alluding to also, we should have explained this in the beginning of the episode, that this is going to be the end of this season. We are not ending the show by any means, but we are taking a break for a couple of weeks, and we will be returning back here. When did we decide? We decided after 4 weeks or 3 weeks?
I don't know. We need to talk about that. But we
Okay.
will be starting back up in the fall for season 3.
Yes.
It's
Because
going to
we'll
be
have-
a lot of fun. We're going to maybe shake some things up. We still need to talk about it amongst ourselves and make a plan for season 3 and the subjects we want to cover. But it's very exciting. And
But we're already
the
lining
show
up
is-
some special guests. You guys have demanded, and I think one of the first ones maybe we need to do is we do need to bring in Dapper Mom and Dad. I mentioned this kind of briefly on a social media post, and that was the first response is, bring on the Dapper Mom and Dad. We need them. And yeah, I know that's even more chaos driven, Katie Joe. I know. But that would be hilarious, and I think that'd be great.
I don't even know if we would need to pick a topic for that episode. I
That
feel
would be
like
all over the
there's no
place.
structure. It's just go. Whatever. Shoot
Right.
from the hip.
Yeah, just let him go. And I think that maybe that's where we should start off the season, is with Dapper Mom and Dad, and let that be the craziness, let that be the catch up, because we're taking a break really because we have so many things going on with the ribbon cutting ceremony, with D23 for myself coming up. I'm going to be out of town here starting tomorrow tomorrow is Monday before this episode comes out. I will be in the studio recording the audiobook for the next book. And we're running around like chickens again. So we kind of need a little bit of time to get caught up, we're already kind of out of sync with a recording schedule, so that way we can pick it up where we belong in the beginning of September. So it'll be very good, and we'll have to get caught up during that time. But some other fun guests are being worked out in the meantime, from other social media friends to other maybe ex-Imagineers or people that worked in the Disney World at one point. So fun
Maybe
things to
some
come.
people from the TV side, the
Maybe.
animation side. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, we are talking about having some guests for next season, so
It'll be good. It'll be good.
W.
yeah, we're gonna have a Cole versus me, a me versus Cole for Canada
Ooh.
episode.
Cole would love that. He's actually texting me right now.
I'm gonna beat him up.
No.
I'm gonna
Bearded
tell
bros
Mexico,
battle it out over the World Showcase Lagoon.
I'm gonna say actually the proper way to start to do World Showcase is to skip Canada altogether and just go in the back entrance into the UK and start there and then go around to Mexico and leave out the front of the park so you don't hit Canada at all.
Oh my goodness, we're going to be canceled after this. So we won't be coming back for another season.
I mean,
the Canadians will
come on.
cancel us.
Danielle. Let's. The Canadians are the. I feel like if Clarence is going to attack any nationality, the Canadians are the most likely to forgive and just be like, "Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry you had a bad experience."
Oh, they won't forgive.
We're
They just
gonna-
won't do anything about
Yeah,
it.
we're going to stay subscribed though. It's not a big deal, you know.
You know what's funny is we were still with Aunt Chita and Uncle James when all your stuff was happening, Clarence. And mind you, again, they are the Canadians. They live in Canada. And we told them, it was like, oh, he's still stuck there. And they asked, what airport is he in? And we said Toronto. And they went, oh. So I think they silently knew. Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Pre-order the book if you haven't already. It comes
Yes.
out in September.
Go
Show
ahead
up
and
to the book
pre-order.
signings.
all the things. I will be posting on the social media, so make sure you pay attention to the social medias. We did have a couple new members that joined onto the Patreon family, but nobody new in the refresher tier. But if anybody joins the refresher tier during the time that we are on a break, we make sure to highlight and shout them out in the beginning of the next episode for the next season. So, great times. Until next time.
I was just gonna say, wait,
Yes.
hold. Did
Oh, my goodness.
you, in your special video for the Patreon, did you mention that we're gonna be shipping out books potentially that we have
I
signed?
did.
Yes. Did you? I guess that everyone on the Patreon got that one.
If they did not,
For anyone that is not on the Patreon,
Yes.
we had the kerfuffle, as I like to say, at San Diego, where we did not have the books that we wanted to have available for our fans. So we've signed a few extra, and we will be making them available on Danielle's website. So if you need to get a signed copy, you haven't had a chance to, this is your chance.
yes.
That's all.
Do it.
Be following along on the Patreon to see when that link goes live. Patreon gets first dibs, and then it'll be posted to everybody else. So then it'll be a free-for-all. So just warning you guys, and that will be happening this week. It might be actually on the same day that this episode airs, that this goes down. So on Tuesday.
So
So
for
if
the
you
chat,
just check anyways. Just check.
Just
If
check
you're listening
anyway.
to this
Check
right
my
now,
socials.
just
Check the Instagram stories. See if there's a link in the stories, and we'll go from there. Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Are we done? Are we good?
I think we're done. That is a wrap for season 2. Season 3 is on the way.
Wait, wasn't this season 3?
No, this was season 2.
This was season 2.
Fireworks.
So until next time, thank you so much for listening to the very end of this episode, and we'll see you next season. Night night, sleep tight, dream of churros tonight.